Okay, so I finally caught up with the Jujutsu Kaisen manga, and if I'm being completely honest, right now the current Culling Game arc is definitely, in my opinion, I feel like it's definitely going to be on a similar level to the Shibuya incident arc, and I feel like we just have to wait until, we get into the Culling Game seriously until we finally can kind of gauge whether or not it can surpass Shibuya. But anyway, as you can tell by the title, in this video we're going to be talking about chapter 164 and my predictions for the next chapter and how I think the fights in the next chapter might play out. And of course, we all know that Jujutsu Kaisen is on a break this week, so we aren't getting any chapters, so I decided, why not, let me just make this video. And of course, before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel, because now that I've caught up with Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm going to be doing chapter spoilers reviews every single week. So if you like that stuff, then make sure you subscribe, because I just said I do that stuff. But anyway, let's just get into the damn video. Now, as we all know, in the last chapter, we saw that out of, Amai and Remy, we saw that Remy was actually the liar, and we saw that she actually led Megumi to a guy called Reggie. And apparently, according to Remy, Reggie is actually pretty strong. Now, to be completely honest, I'm not too sure whether to think Reggie is super strong, because for all we know, Megumi could just destroy Reggie in the next chapter. But I'll take Remy's word for it, and I will say that maybe Reggie is actually pretty strong. And I feel like in the next chapter we could see Megumi and Reggie definitely kind of fight it out, because I feel like between Megumi and Reggie and Higuruma and Yuji, I feel like the fight that is more, important is definitely Yuji versus Higuruma, because Higuruma is kind of like the most important person in this, I guess in this arc, in this mini arc, because we do need to get Higuruma to change the rules of the Culling Game. And I feel like since Higuruma isn't trying to change the rules, of course Yuji is gonna have to force him. And I feel like regarding Yuji and Higuruma, I feel like this is definitely gonna be a very tough fight for Yuji to win. I feel like Higuruma is actually a pretty strong fighter, and his curse technique is, I feel like it has something to do with scales, because it looks like he's constantly holding like the scales, those scales that we always see, and we see that it kind of has kind of a jury kind of vibe to it. I feel like Higuruma has something to do with justice, and I feel like his curse technique is going to be very tricky to get around. It seems like one of those curse techniques that isn't actually incredibly strong in terms of raw power. I feel like it's just very intricate, and you need to really get your head around it to understand how it works. And I feel like that's kind of how Higuruma's curse technique works. And now going back to Megumi and Reggie, I feel like Reggie's curse technique is definitely also not a raw power oriented technique. I feel like it has something to do with maybe some seals or some marks, because we see that Reggie does have some marks on his on his arms, and we see that he also has some receipts which could also have something to do with his curse technique. But of course we still don't fully know what they are, but I'm pretty sure we can give kind of a rough estimate just from what we've seen so far. But I feel like Megumi at this point in the series is actually pretty strong. I'd say he's definitely one of the more stronger characters. I mean, he has a domain expansion, he can use his shadows very efficiently. I mean, Megumi has definitely gotten stronger. I mean, compared to where I stopped off in season 1 in the anime, he's definitely a lot stronger, and I feel like he definitely could give Reggie a run for his money, because it seems like Reggie is quite confident that he could beat Megumi fairly easily. And even Remy as well also said that she thinks that Megumi doesn't really stand a chance against Reggie. Well, of course we still don't know anything about Reggie. We haven't even seen him fight, so we could see Reggie get completely obliterated by Fushiguro in the next chapter. And I feel like at the back of my mind, I'm kind of wishing that happens, because I don't know, but I kind of don't like Reggie's vibe. Reggie seems kind of a bit cocky, and I'm not exactly the biggest fan of cocky characters in anime. But moving on, I kind of want to talk about Yuji and whether or not Sukuna could actually come out in this fight against Higuruma. Now, I feel like Sukuna is definitely a factor that we always have to, you know, kind of, I guess, put into play. We have to always kind of keep that at the forefront of our minds when Yuji is fighting, because Sukuna could easily just, you know, ask Yuji to switch, and if Yuji is in a pretty, you know, tough position, we could see Yuji kind of make a binding vow with Sukuna to maybe not hurt Fushiguro or not hurt any innocent civilians, etc. Because we know Yuji is quite a upstanding guy. He doesn't like hurting people for no reason, which is a complete contrast to Sukuna, who just wants to cause mayhem and chaos everywhere he goes. But of course we could see Sukuna come in here, and I'm pretty sure, you know, 15 finger Sukuna could beat Higuruma. I mean, Higuruma does seem pretty strong, but looks can be deceiving, but from Higuruma just looks alone, I don't think he can take on 15 finger Sukuna. But of course we don't know. Higuruma could be, you know, one of the strongest characters in the series, but you know, since he's the only person, or out of, you know, he's only one of 2 people that have 100 points so far, so I mean, he has to be fairly strong. And of course, if Yuji decides to go solo against Higuruma, we could see Yuji actually have probably one of the toughest fights in this series. Would I say it would be tougher than Mahito? Possibly. We could see his, you know, this fight be even tougher than Mahito, or maybe even tougher. Maybe, I feel like this fight will kind of be kind of like him versus Choso in the Shibuya incident arc. I don't think it's going to be, you know, Mahito level of difficulty, because, you know, we know that Todo had to help, you know, Yuji, but overall Yuji did beat Mahito in that fight. But of course I do think that, you know, we could see, I guess, this fight be kind of Choso level of difficulty. I'm not too sure. I feel like it could be a little higher than Choso, but I feel like that's kind of in and around where we could see the difficulty of this fight being. Now, do I see Yuji losing? I honestly don't really see Yuji losing this fight, because even if he's backed into a corner, or Higuruma does kind of find a way to beat him down or overwhelm him, we know that Sukuna is always an option, and we know 15 finger Sukuna is a threat, to say the least. Let's talk about Megumi and Reggie now. Do I think Megumi will win? As I said before, I kind of feel like this might be a mid-diff for Megumi. We could see Megumi just prove just how strong he is again. We never know, because we know Megumi at the moment is definitely a lot stronger, and I feel like we could see Megumi kind of, I guess he may have a little bit of a tough time, but I don't think it's going to be as much as a tough time as Yuji is going to have against Higuruma. That's kind of my verdict on how these fights are going to go and the difficulty of these fights, etc. But apart from that, that's pretty much it for this video, to be honest. This is my first Jujutsu Kaisen, you know, manga oriented video, and I mean, I'm liking Jujutsu Kaisen right now, so, you know, I'm probably gonna be covering this until the series ends. But yeah, if you like the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new, and apart from that, I will see you in my next video.